Mr. Wayne, Mrs. Alicia are 83-year-old young neighbors of ours.
Mhm.
This is not going to be the story of how we met them. This is a story of how they both met each other. Let's go back to 2010. Both were single at that point
Table
with
mounts.
kids,
Yes.
and they wanted companionship
Mhm.
during their age. It
Uh-huh.
was pre-Tinder era. We need to remember that.
1 to 2 minutes.
The algorithm worked pretty much similar, but the platform and everything was different. They registered themselves on a site called as Senior People Meet. It pretty much works the same way like Tinder. You register a bio of yourself, and the algorithm will show you a list of profiles that would match your profile. And all you need to do is relay a communication to the app that, hey, I like this person. Can you please connect with that person? Now, Grandpa found a bunch of 5 profiles that were available for him, and he found probably the obvious one that he liked, which was Mrs. Alicia's. He was impressed by the profile. Through the profile, he found Grandma to be cute. You need to be realistic and like-minded. They shared their political views as well as religious beliefs. So he went ahead and expressed his liking through the profile, and the application acted as a relay and it communicated to Mrs. Alicia. The very first response that they received in this conversation from Mrs. Alicia was, "Don't go away, I'll be back." Mr. Wayne waited for a couple of hours, then got to know from Mrs. Alicia that she was running some errands and she had to step out. And she didn't want to miss the conversation, and she also liked the profile. That's the borderline that we need to understand here. I asked Grandma later, why did you like Mr. Wayne? This is what she replied. Among a bunch of idiots, which I ran into in this dating site, he was the most impressive and I loved him. That's what she replied to me. They both had started having conversations, first through the app as the intermediary. Soon they exchanged emails and they started to get closer. The conversation started to flow. After a matter of few days, emails turned into direct phone contact. And Grandpa was excited to meet Grandma at this point. And over here, she asked, Alicia, is it possible for us to meet in person? Grandma then replied, ah, a twist. For getting registered with the profile, I listed my location as Arizona, whereas I live in Wisconsin.
Mm.
Huh. Then Grandma actually told her plans. Currently, I live in Oconto, Wisconsin. Post my retirement, I want to live in the same place as my son Peter lives, which is in Arizona. Grandpa, even though was disappointed initially, he was kind of hoping that she'll be back and he will soon get an opportunity to meet her in person. The opportunity came. Grandma was about to visit Arizona. During that time, she reached out to Mr. Wayne, stating that whether he would be interested in meeting her because she is coming town to meet her son as well as one of her friends. And as fate would go by, initially, Grandma's son was about to pick up Alicia from the airport. But what ended up happening was Mr. Wayne got the chance. He went to the airport pretty soon, probably let's say 2 hours before the flight landed. He ended up in the terminal. It was a hot day, it was humid day, and he was getting ready to be excited to meet grandma. At this time, he went to the terminal and he couldn't see any information on the display board about the flight. He waited for 20 minutes. Then he reached out to some helper, airport attendant, and he said that, oops, you are at the wrong terminal. You need to go to the other terminal. So he went to the parking lot, took his car, took a roundabout, spent like 10, 15 minutes, and finally parked his car and entered the other terminal. And still he waited for 20, 30 minutes. Still the flight didn't show up or anything on the board. And again, he reached out to a nearby attendant. They told, why are you in this terminal? The terminal that you were there is the correct one. Why don't you head out there? He again went there. And this time, the flight was almost about to land and he wanted to get refreshed. He was sweating a lot and he wanted to use the restroom and get refreshed. He went to the restroom and during this time, thinking about grandma a little bit extra, he opened the faucet a bit harder. The water splashed all over him, his shirt and the pant. He didn't have enough time because grandma landed at this point and the very first time grandma met grandpa was the point where he was drenched almost. And who plans for those kind of scenarios? Who cares a spare dress? Come on. And the very first reaction grandma gave to grandpa was staring up and down. And grandpa explained to grandma. They finally met, and I asked grandma, did you give him a hug? Grandma replied, no way, no way. They finally bonded all along and they got married in on December 16th, 2010. Their life ran into a lot of obstacles, but they pushed all the obstacles together. Grandpa had to have his leg amputated after a series of 9 surgeries, but they didn't give up on their life. It's always an inspiration. Probably they went by their wedding vows, they stuck by it, the sickness and health. It's really a source of inspiration for all of us. I intend to live like them with my wife. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.